new week and it's time for session 4 of our Year 2 handwriting challenge. We're going to follow the same structure. We're going to start with warm-up exercises. Then we're going to move on to our letter formation. And finally, we're going to do a fun activity that practices our fine motor skills. Ready to start? Our first exercise today is called Up We Go. And to do this exercise, you need to move back a little bit from the table because you've got to have room between the table and your tummy to lift your arms up. So here we go. This one's for our shoulder strength. I want you to hold your left elbow in your right hand and then put your other hand round to hold the other elbow. Then put that back against your tummy. We're going to very slowly and in a very controlled way lift our arms up above our head, and when we get there we're going to hold it for 2. We're going to carry on and do that 5 times. So slowly lift your folded arms up. When they get up above your head we count 1, 2, and then we slowly take them down in a very controlled way. This is not a race. That's our first one done. Up again. 1, 2, and down again. Up again. 1, 2, and down again. And up again. Hold them still. 1, 2, and down again. And last one's with our arms like this. Up we go. 1, 2, and down again. Well done. Take your arms apart, other way round. So take the other elbow with your hand and reach that one round that elbow. I'm not talking about lefts and rights because I get mixed up because I'm the other way round from you. Okay, so put them against your tummy and then get ready to lift and to hold when you get to the top. We're going to do this one 5 times. Up we go. 1, 2, and down again. Up we go. 1, 2, and down again. Up we go. Hold it. 1, 2, and down again. I've lost count, so we'll just do one more. Up we go. Hold it there. 1, 2, and down again. And give your hands a bit of a shake. Our next exercise is to improve our wrist strength. We're going to do wrist circles. So stretch your arms in front of you, palms facing up to the ceiling. Put your thumbs into the middle of your hands and close your fingers around them. Then turn your hands over so you've got 2 fists with straight arms pointing straight out in front of you. We're going to do 6 circles outwards first, small circles with our wrists. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All done. Give your arms a bit of a shake. Our next exercise is for our fingers, and I've moved the camera so that you can see my fingers even though you can't see my face. Right, you need to sit with both hands spread out on the table, fingers spread. And we're going to very slowly walk our fingers towards our thumb one at a time, trying not to move the other fingers. So I moved the first finger, then the next finger, then the ring finger, then the little finger. And now we're going to walk them outwards again. Little finger out, ring finger out, middle finger out, pointing finger out, and in again, pointing finger in, little finger in, ring finger in, little finger in, little finger out, ring finger out, middle finger out, pointing finger out. One more time. Pointing finger in, middle finger in, ring finger in, little finger in, middle finger out, ring finger out, middle finger out, pointing finger out. And that's the end of that one. The letters that we're going to practice today have a certain similarity with this letter. Do you remember when we wrote O, I told you it was a bit different from the other letters we've done so far because the exit is up at the top. It's not down at the line. If you watch again, when I write an O, that's my exit up there. It doesn't come down there. If it came down there, it would look like an A, and that would get confusing. Today, the other letters we're going to learn are letters that we called top exit. So the first one that we're going to do is the letter R. So watch carefully while I do it. Leading stroke, it's a half-size letter. Down, back up, and do the top. Watch again. Leading stroke, straight down, back up, and curve around the top. And this is its exit stroke. We don't come down to the line again because it would look like an N. So R is a top exit letter. Do another one. Maybe you can put your finger in the air and draw it with me. Leading stroke, straight down, back up the top, curve over, exit stroke. Have a little try at doing those on your own. Pause and practice the letter R. Our next top exit letter is the letter V. So we do a curved leading stroke, and it's got a diagonal down and a diagonal up, and there's its exit stroke up at the top. And again, start down on the line, leading stroke, diagonally down, diagonally up, and an exit stroke. In George we choose to do the V's that have a sharp point at the bottom. Let's do another one, curved leading stroke, down, sharp point, up again, exit stroke. Have a go at those. Don't forget to make sure you have a sharp point because otherwise it can start getting mixed in with the letter U. Pause and practice the letter V. And our last new letter for today is the letter W, which starts very much the same way as a V. You do your curved leading stroke, diagonally down to a sharp point, up again to the same level, down again, another sharp point, and then your exit stroke. And another one. Leading stroke, down diagonally, up diagonally, down diagonally, up diagonally, exit stroke. Drawn in the air in front of you. Leading stroke, down diagonally, up diagonally, down diagonally, up diagonally, exit stroke. Have a go. Pause and practice the letter W. Now I'm just going to have a go at showing you how top joiners join. This is our problem. If we do an O, and then we think, oh well, O starts down near the line, and we go down like that and go and do an O the same way again, we get this line. And that makes the first O look like an A. So we can't come down to the line to start the second O. This is what we do instead. We do the leading stroke, round like the curly car. Exit stroke, stay up there because it needs to stay up in the air. And just start your next O like that. Looks a bit like a pair of glasses. We can't have the going down because that looks like an A. We have to keep it up in the air. So here's another one. Leading stroke, round like a curly car. And you have to think about what's the next letter I'm doing. It's an O. I'm going to have to just join on at the top. If it has an exit stroke that's at the top, the next letter has to start at the top. So it's changing how we write our O. We're not starting down at the bottom. Watch again. Leading stroke. We've done our O. We can't come down because that would change it into an A. So we go across and do our next O, same way, except for we don't have a leading stroke going from the line. Have a little go at that. It's really tricky. If you're finding it difficult, it might be better to leave it till later. Pause and practice joining O. And now I'll show you joining R's. Again, we said we start the first R from the line and go down and come across the top. Because it's got its exit at the top, we have to keep it at the top, and we don't go back down to the line, because that would make it look like an N. If we started the next R there, it would look like we'd got NR, and we can't have that. So when we do an R, it's got its exit stroke at the top, so we have to join at the top. And it is really tricky because it can end up looking like an M. I've seen lots of mistakes children use when they're joining R's. When I learnt to do handwriting, our teachers told us never to join R's. So watch again. Leading stroke, straight down, up, over the top. It's a top joiner, so stay up high. Just start your next R beside it. And do another one. Leading stroke, down, up, go across the top. It's a top joiner, so we can't go down. Got to go down from there. We will work on this more in year 2. You can have a little try, check that yours looks like 2 R's and that you haven't made the mistake of going down to start again, because that doesn't look like 2 R's. Do it very, very carefully. Pause and practice joining R. Now we're going to recap on all the letters that we've practiced so far. We started with the ones that are formed with a C to start with. So we did C, A, then we did D, and G with its descender. Then we did Q, and we did O, and we did S, and then we did E. Then we did the ones with straight lines, so we did I, we did the tall one, that's L, and then we did the 3/4 high one, that's T, and then we did the one that I find quite tricky, that's X, and then we did Z, and today we have done R, V, and W. So we've done an awful lot of them now, not many to go. Now we talked about the fact that these ones are difficult to join because they have a top exit. We're going to practice it today in a way that doesn't matter at all. We're going to do some of our phase 5 digraphs that sometimes children find a bit tricky to remember, and they have a W on the end. So the 2 digraphs we're going to do is OR, which is the AW spelling of OR, you practice that with me. We do the A first, start with a C, then go down, and leading stroke for the W, and then the sharp points with the straight lines on the top exit. And do one more with me. Leading stroke, round like a curly cup, up, down, then the leading stroke of the W, down, up, exit stroke. And the word that we'll write with OR in it is saw, because that's a very useful word to be able to write. So we start with the S, and we come back round and round, then out of the bottom we keep our pen on till the end of the word. So next it's the A, and then into the W. And the other phase 5 sound, a digraph that sometimes people find a bit tricky, is OO spelt with EW, so that'll give us practice at writing our W again. Leading stroke for the E, loop back, into the W, straight lines, and then the exit stroke. OO or U, it can also say. Right, let's write it again. Loop back for the E, leading stroke for W, straight lines for a W, and the exit stroke. And one more, loop the loop of the E, lead-in stroke into the W, then straight lines, and exit stroke. And let me think what word we could write with one of these letters with an O. I think we will write due, and that's not like money is due to be paid. It's due like when you get some water on the grass on a really hot sunny day when it hasn't been raining, dew on the grass. Okay, so leading stroke for the duck, come around, and then it's got a taller sender up to the line, down, loop the for the E, and then we've got the W with the straight pointy lines down and up, exit stroke. Have a practice at writing saw and due. Pause and practice writing words. For our fun activity today, we're all going to do something slightly different because it depends on what you have in your house. I know that there are lots of children's toys that are really good for developing fine motor skills, but I don't know what's in your house. So I'm going to show you some of the things that my girls had when they were little that helped to develop fine motor skills. Then I want you to go on a little bit of a search, look at your toys, look at things in your house, see if you can find something that will help develop your fine motor skills, and then have a session playing with it. So I'm going to move the camera now so that you can see the things that I want to show you and talk to you about. First thing that I want to talk to you about is, can you hear that noise? Can you guess what it is? I wonder. It's this stuff, Lego. Lego is brilliant for developing fine motor skills because you have to match the pieces very carefully. You have to press them hard to make them join, and pulling them apart again takes a bit of effort sometimes. With your fingers and your thumbs, pinching things and working independently. This is some Lego left when my children were young. Now, I find that children are much better at working imaginatively with Lego than I am, and I sometimes like to follow instructions. Sometimes it's good to make up your own models, but if you have some instructions, it's good to follow them because following instructions and looking at pictures helps to develop skills that are useful for writing too. Now, this is a little booklet that my girls used to have, and it was for making all sorts of little birds, and I think there were fish in there too somewhere. Yep, there's a fish. I really liked this set. So this afternoon I tipped all the Lego out, and then I had a little go at building one of the models, and I followed the instructions. I did actually go for the easiest model. I followed the instructions step by step, and I ended up with this little bird. I was really pleased with it. Now, if you've got some Lego, perhaps you can make a model and you can send a photograph to show your teacher. So that's one good thing you could do for your fine motor skills if you're lucky enough to have some Lego. This is another construction set that my children had when they were little. You have pieces like this with balls on the end, and then you've got these pieces for joining, and also a very handy key for taking them apart again. These are great because you can link them together in different ways. You can push them in like that, or you can use these linking pieces and make long chains of them, which you can then bend to make different shapes. I think I used to like playing with this more than my girls did, really. Here's a person I made earlier, so you can join it with all the ball and socket joints and these extra pieces, and then you can use it and pose it in different ways. You can just about make them do handstands if you balance them well. Let's see if I can do that. Oh, nearly. Just bend them a bit that way. They can do handstands. They can stand on one leg. I just loved playing with this when my girls were little. So I don't know if they even make a Tullo anymore, but I should think you've got some construction toys in your house that I've never seen before, because I'm a little bit out of date because my girls are both over 20 now. I wonder if you can find something that has little pieces that join together that you can show me models that you've made with that. Another thing that you might have had a try at, and you might even have some at home, is hammer beads. Now, hammer beads are excellent for developing fine motor skills because you have to work very hard to pick them up and then to put them on one of the pegs. I'm going to put that one on to be his hand. I find this very fiddly, and you have to be very patient with it. I'm trying to make this boy a purple jumper. As you can see, My things are a bit big and clumsy for this, but you're probably better at it than I am. Have you ever had a go at this before? If you have, you'll know that you make your pattern and then you get an adult to iron it with an iron with some paper underneath to stop the beads melting onto the iron, and then you end up with something like this. This must be one that my girls made that I found when I looked for the hammer beads in the drawer. So if you do have hammer beads, that's a great thing that you could get out this afternoon and have a go with so that you develop your fine motor skills. Another thing that's good for developing fine motor skills that you might have in your house are coins. And a really good thing you can do with coins is post them into a money box. I've got a money box here with a slot in the top. If you've got a slot like that, you could get some coins and see how quickly you can put them all in the money box. You could even get a timer and time yourself. I'm going to try and put all the ones in really quickly. So just use one hand, and then you could try your other hand. It's good to make both hands work hard. I find that a lot harder because it's not my writing hand. Another thing you could do is you could sort out the coins. So I'll put my ones over there. I've got a couple of fives and I've got some two. Oh, no, that's a one, isn't it? I've got all these twos. You could put them in and count them as you go. Count their value rather than the number of coins. So these were each worth 2 pence. So I'm going to count in twos. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. There, that's all of the twos in. You could do a race with someone else. You could see who can put them in the shortest length of time. Lots of things you can do with a money box. If you don't have a money box, you could even make your own. I found this box in my recycling and I cut a slot in the side. Really, to make your hands work hard, it's best if the slot's in the side and you're putting the coins in that way. It's hard for me to show you that, so I'm going to turn it that way up so you can make your own box just by cutting a slot or getting an adult to cut a slot, and then you can do the same thing with coins. Just see how quickly can you post them all in. Pick them up with one hand, post them in, make it into a game, or practice your maths counting in twos or fives or tens.